Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, or, as John Campea once called me, your existential Mr. Rogers. That's right, it's me, Robert Meyer Burnett, and this is a John Campea Show mailbag for Monday, July 25th, 2022. As you all know, during the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we turn on Super Chats. That features on for only a couple of minutes, so we don't have too many questions, and we will get to your questions live every single day of the week. However, if you want to write to us any other time, we do these mailbags, and we have operatives all over the world ready and waiting to get your questions, comments, reviews, whatever. You can use the feature right down below, and you can send us any commentary you want. And if we deem it appropriate, we will read it right here on the mailbag, and I'll show you how we do that. Jonathan Petros Renault says, if you had to cast a live-action The Pride, who would you cast? Well, as John would say, same part, some actor, some part, who knows? But if I had to cast The Pride, I would cast Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner and John Belushi. Yeah, sounds like a good cast to me. The old Saturday Night Live cast with Willy Wonka. Why not? Besides, if I say the wrong thing, John will get mad. X-Men Origin sends in a tip and says, Part 1. I think there's a way to make the X-Men work. First, the mutant population was a problem, and Xavier and Magneto created a device around the Earth that blocks the mutant gene, and also Xavier blocked memories of everyone on Earth of ever seeing them. In Eternals, when Arishem the Judge appears next to destroy the Earth, destroys the device, bringing back the powers to the mutant population, and this is why Kamala can only use her powers with the bracelets, because it blocks the device. Well, here's the thing. I mean, the thing about mutants are they're just people with different DNA. They have the mutant gene, you know, they're Homo superior instead of Homo sapiens. And even Xavier, using the power of Cerebro, isn't aware of every single mutant on Earth. So I think it would be difficult to do that. And plus, wouldn't that go against, like, would Magneto agree with something like that? I don't think he would. But it's an interesting idea, but I don't think it entirely works. And mutants have been around, well, at least since ancient Egypt. So what about all the mutants throughout history? Even Wolverine's over, you know, if you go by X-Men Origins, he's old. So does that mean that mutants would Xavier and Magneto want to suppress those mutants from being who and what they are? I don't think either one of them would do that. It's an interesting idea, but I think that's the biggest question in the MCU right now is how are they going to incorporate mutants into the MCU? I used to think that it wasn't going to be this way, but I think there's going to be a multiverse answer to this question, because we've already seen Professor Xavier from a different universe, and I think that we might get some kind of a multiversal explanation. Don't know what it is yet, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. Don't know. Maximus, actually Anonymous, can you scooch down a little bit? Anonymous. It's the same guy. Okay. Maximus said, love the show. I challenge you to name 10 better actors than Daniel Kaluuya. That guy rocks. I think you meant to say rocks. Or you want to say F's too? Yeah, you could say that. Well, I mean, you know, I wouldn't want to do that. Name 10 better actors than Daniel Kaluuya. I think he's one of the most exciting actors working in film today. I think he's really diverse in terms of what he can do, in terms of his emotional states, the things that he can bring to a character. And it's great to see somebody like him being used, especially, I love it when actors team up with directors. He delivered some amazing work in Jordan Peele's Get Out, obviously coming back for Nope. And I think that, I wouldn't want to compare and contrast, because that's not fair to the great work that he's doing. And, various actors do different kinds of things. So that would be nice to try and pit 10 other actors against Daniel Kaluuya. So I don't want to do that, but I will just say he's a fine actor and one of the best we have, one of the most exciting actors that's working in film today, certainly. Howard says, hey, John and crew, Did you guys hear about Henry Cavill making an appearance at the San Diego Comic-Con? Does this mean we're getting another Superman movie and maybe more future projects? Thanks, and a big fan of you guys. I have to tell you, Howard, the only place Henry Cavill appeared recently is on my desk right here. He did not appear at San Diego Comic-Con. I was able to make him, I manifested him on my desk right here. He's actually at my house. I brought him here. That's how good of friends we are. And so he didn't show up at Comic-Con. He didn't fly in from the UK or wherever the hell he is. He didn't witcher himself over. No Henry Cavill at Comic-Con. It was very sad, but you know what? I make up for it by having it on my desk. And you can see him too. He hasn't said anything to me about any new Superman movies, though, which is kind of a bummer. My kid Banana says, every year around San Diego Comic-Con, I have a new ritual. I go back on YouTube and find the John Campea Memorial to John Schnepp. I loved his energy and passion. I miss him so much. It's been 4 years. I miss John Schnepp as well. John Schnepp, brought me in. I didn't know John Campea. It was John Schnepp who brought me into his YouTube show. I didn't even know he was doing a YouTube show. I didn't know what that entailed. That was in April of 2015. Now it's almost August of 2022, and I'm still here. I miss the guy every day. He was a force of nature, and he was actually, we were only 1 day apart. He was a day younger than me. We're the same age. And I think, when I think about I always joke, I'm an old man with 1 foot in the grave. Well, I do, whenever I say that, I do think about John Schnepp. And, I miss him. He was a very vibrant presence. And you couldn't walk into a room with him in it and not enjoy yourself. So here's to you, John, wherever you may be. I know you're the great sweaty in the sky, and hopefully somehow you're able to look down on all the greatness that we've received in the last 4 years that you would have loved. So shout out to John Schnepp. Sam Phillip says, John, blink twice if you know something we don't about Cavill at Comic-Con. Well, I'd say we all know the same thing now, which is that Henry Cavill was not at Comic-Con. Laugh out loud, but in all seriousness, if Cavill walks out on stage there, we're going to need paramedics on standby. I was at least hoping they'd have a cleaning crew come in and wipe everything off the walls that would have been spewed forth by 6,000 people in Hall H, but didn't happen. Probably for the best. God knows COVID's enough of a problem. Can you imagine the diseases and the horrible bacteria that if he walked out on that stage? But he didn't, so everybody is safe. And we have less to talk about today. We're diminished as people. We're not as special as if Henry Cavill had walked out on that stage, so it's kind of sad. Shy Potsy says, hey, John and or Rob, it's me. Phase 5 movie predictions and hopes. Namor, Daredevil, X-Men, Doctor Strange 3, Black Panther 3, Shang-Chi 2, some kind of X-Men versus blank movie, and the Blade movie. Also, I would love to see The Way of the Spider story in Shang-Chi 2. I have to say, you got some of those. 18 episodes of a Daredevil show. I mean, the other movies didn't really get announced, except Blade. We know Blade's coming. But all those are great. I think it's really exciting. 2 Avengers movies. I mean, the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Pretty cool. We knew kind of Secret Wars was probably coming, but I didn't know that they were going to do the Kang Dynasty. If you read that story, I think it's like a 16-issue run within Avengers that, and I want to say it's in Avengers 40 to 60 or something. I don't remember. But that's a bonkers, world-spanning, apocalyptic story where, I mean, it's big. And it'd be fun to watch that as a movie. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Phase 5 and 6 and beyond. So there you go. I'm glad some of those things, and I'm sure we're going to get Doctor Strange 3, we'll get Shang-Chi 2, and we're going to get Black Panther 3, but it'll take a while. Mark Nadeau says, the MCU should do a documentary about the average Joe's take on all the fantastic goings on in the MCU, a lot like a District 9 vibe. Mark, I've been saying this a lot. Like, what I want them to do is a Marvels movie, not the Marvels that we're getting with Kamala and Carol Danvers and Polaris. with Monica Rambeau. The Marvel story that Alex Ross drew and Kurt Busiek wrote about the everyman seeing the Marvel Cinematic Universe through the eyes of the man on the street. I think we really need that. I think we need to define, or doing a Randall Park series, that X-Files-esque series we talked about. I think that would be good too. I think we really need that. The MCU needs something like that, so we as the everyman, woman, however you identify across the 28 known galaxies, we see from our perspective, not the superheroic perspective. I'd ask Henry Cavill here to do it, but he's, of course, in the wrong universe. He's not part of Marvel, so he's of no good, no use to me. And Wolverine, he's not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe anymore either. So what good are these two? I don't know. Haskell420 says, "Hi, gang. I tweeted you this morning. Rock was on Kimmel last night and said Black Adam is blessed with the same superpowers as Superman across the board. Superman's weakness is magic, which is one of my biggest strengths," says Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. "We've never heard Superman's weakness is magic. Au contraire. Yes, Superman's magic weakness is a big part of the comics. Mr. Mixelplitic, however you pronounce his name, magic has long been a weakness of Superman's. So the fact that Black Adam is in possession of weakness, it's interesting that Black Adam is comparing and contrasting his powers on a TV show with that of Superman. I mean, while Henry Cavill didn't show up at Comic-Con, does that mean Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson knows something that we don't? We shall see. Perhaps he does. I mean, as I've said, they haven't really shown who's his adversary in the movie. I wouldn't be surprised if Superman shows up. Why not? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Black Adam and Superman go at it. And millions will die in the aftermath of fighting over an American city. Something like that. Whole thing goes up in a magical conflagration of awesomeness. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could. K like the letter K. It's like being on an electric company. Today's show is brought to you by the letter K. And if you want to say that this mailbag is brought to you by the letter K, I have no problem with that. K says, "Hey, crew, I'm late to the show today. Did you guys see Disney Plus is adding Deadpool and Logan tomorrow? Do you think this means something right before San Diego Comic-Con? Bring on the filthy." Well, Kay, we did. We thought it meant something. Chris Carr thought it meant something. John thought it meant something. I thought it meant something. It turns out it didn't mean shit other than these 3 movies are going to Disney Plus. We got nothing. We got nothing at Comic-Con. You know, I mean, I got Rayora laughing over there, which means I'm doing something right. No, it just meant that we've now got Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan, 3 R-rated movies on Disney Plus. I'd say that's a huge victory. Of course, parents, set your paywalls accordingly, or however you work parental controls. Make sure that your kids aren't coming and asking you how to celebrate International Women's Day, because that's going to get a little embarrassing. You won't know what that is either, so you should probably watch Deadpool 1 and figure it out. I prefer celebrating International Women's Day just like that, as long as you have a willing partner who's GGG. Look that one up too. So anyway, kids, yeah, it didn't happen. No Deadpool, no Ryan Reynolds. We didn't get anything. Kayak says, "Greetings. Do you think old Steve Rogers may appear as a guide or moral support to Sam in Captain America 4? Also, if and when they decide to bring young Steve back, do you think it may be by pushing time through him, like with Scott in Endgame, but on purpose this time?" Kayak, you and I park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay. They established that in Endgame. They can push time through somebody and de-age them. That's a perfect way to get Captain America back in the MCU. Hell, why not do it in Quantum Mania, you know? And it's canonical. I think it's acceptable. Why not? Because I don't like I like the idea that Steve Rogers would retain all of his memories, especially the memories of growing old. And I think it'd be great. I'd love to see them do that. I think a lot of people might object to it because it's the easy way out, but it's a canonical way to establish Steve Rogers as his younger self without violating the canon that the MCU has set up. I like it. I like the idea. I think it's good. So sue me. I like the way you think. Good job. Nathan, 1 of 7. My God, Nathan, 1 of 7. Here we go. Hey, Robert John. After hearing a suggestion from another viewer last year, I decided to make a list and watch 100 movies that I've never seen before and during 2022. I actually finished my list earlier this month, and I'm glad I did this since it gave me the justification to watch a shitload of movies that I've been wanting or needing to see, but I've been putting off for a variety of reasons. My top 10 favorite movies from this watch list are as follows. By the way, Nathan, before I read more of your list, let me say what a cool thing you've done here. And the fact that we're going to get your top 10 of the 100 that you've watched. Let's see what it is. Number 10, Fruitvale Station. Number 9, All the President's Men. Number 8, Booksmart. Number 7, Leaving Las Vegas. Number 6, Cop Car. Number 5, Lore. Number 4, Lawrence of Arabia. Number 3, The Sound of Music. And number 2, Hacksaw Ridge. And number 1 on your list, now I have to ask, is it the original? I would assume it's the original since you watched Sound of Music and Lawrence of Arabia. Number 1 is 12 Angry Men. I personally think that this is something that everyone who watches this channel should try and do. Since it's 100 movies, use it as an opportunity to not just see movies that you have been needing to see, but also branch out and watch some stuff that you normally wouldn't watch to give yourself as full and well-rounded look at everything that movies can be. I personally don't watch horror movies, but I made the deliberate point to watch several. One of the things I did that I would highly recommend to people is that I watched one movie that I hadn't seen, directed by one of the 19 directors of the MCU. That's interesting. A lot of them have lots of movies outside the MCU, and I have to tell you that there are some real gems out there. I would recommend the movie Lore by Kate Shortland and Fruitvale Station by Ryan Coogler. Great movies. I recommend those movies to anyone who hasn't seen them. Basically, it was a great endeavor that I'm glad I did, and I encourage the rest of the audience to try this for themselves. Well, Nathan, first of all, again, I think this is a great idea. I want to go back to your number 1 pick. 12 Angry Men. When I was in high school, I was elected. I was on the student government, and between my junior and senior year in high school, I had to go to a leadership summer camp where I went to. It's just like what it sounds. They send student officers to this leadership camp, and we met people from all over the state of Washington, where I was from, and they showed us 12 Angry Men. And it was the first time, Henry Fonda, it was the first time that I saw that movie. And then we discussed it afterwards. And I have to say, for those of you who don't know, 12 Angry Men is about 12 jurors deciding a court case. And it's basically almost in real time of these 12 guys who've come together, jury of peers, have come together to try and make a decision on the life of I don't want to ruin it, but of the person that's standing trial. It is a tremendous movie. Obviously, you loved it because you picked it as your number 1. And it's just a really compelling movie. No visual effects, just dudes in a room. And the acting is superlative. The direction is tight. It's never boring. It's an incredible, incredible movie. And I'm glad you picked it as your number 1. And it really left an impression on me at leadership camp because it really shows how you deal with situations where a lot of people have opinions involved, and how do you sort of navigate what could be very difficult. You have 12 disparate people in a room, and you want to be respectful, and you want to get something done. You want to argue. You want to come up with a verdict that you have to do. And in order to do that, you have to be very savvy on many different levels. And I thought that movie did a terrific job of showing what that situation could potentially be like. It's a great, great film. So I appreciate that. And I love this idea of watching 100 movies. I think it's great. And the idea that you say move out of your wheelhouse, move out of your comfort zone. I'd love to know what horror movies you watched. Like, did you go highbrow like Rosemary's Baby or The Exorcist or The Omen or something? Or did you go lowbrow and watch slasher movies or something like Reanimator? I mean, what did you do? I'd be very curious to hear. But I love this idea, and I always think it's great to broaden your horizons and watch movies that you've never seen before, because there's so much great cinema in the world that we never get a chance to see, because everybody kind of sticks to the mainstream and watches, you know, things you only know that you only know you're interested in. And sometimes there's movies out there that you might never have heard of or whatever, and how you won't even know how good you'll find them until you see them. But if you never seek them out, you're never going to find out that they were good. So congratulations to you. I love your idea. Thank you for doing this, and thanks for writing in and sharing your experience. It's a good idea. Garden Variety Vagabond says, gents, I just reviewed the movies coming out in August. Ouch. Prey, the Native American Predator sequel, is coming to Disney+. I think it's coming to Hulu. And Audrey Plaza has a limited release film, Emily the Criminal. Is there anything I'm missing coming up? July has only Nope. Well, we've talked about that on the show, Garden Variety Vagabond, that there aren't a lot of great movies coming out. First of all, Prey, word on the street, I talked to a good friend of mine who saw Prey at Comic-Con, said it was incredible, said it might be his favorite of all the Predator movies. John Campea is going to see it today, so he'll give us an out of the theater review, which I hope it's great. I'm looking forward to it. And Emily the Criminal, the Audrey Plaza movie, it looks great. Like she gets like there's some group using fake credit cards to buy stuff and then sell it or take it back. And of course, she gets in too deep. It looks pretty good. Like, I like those kinds of crime films. Young people get caught up in a life of crime and things go awkward or bad for them. And I really, I think it looks good. But you're right. I mean, there's kind of a desert of new movies out there. Not a lot coming out. After seeing Don't Worry, Darling is coming out also, which looks great. Olivia Wilde's movie. I don't know. That might be September. There's a horror film coming out called Barbarian that I actually read the script to that I would highly recommend watching. So other than that, I'd have to look it up and see what's coming. But yeah, it looks, pickings are a little slim, but hey, you never know. You might find it's a time to look up obscure titles that you might not know anything about. Watch RRR on Netflix. Check that out. There's some good stuff out there. Who knows what you'll find? SRT says, regarding your recent discussion about the MCU not having an anchor anymore and no leadership, I think there is one factor you forgot. Chadwick Boseman. The character was loved and the film caught the zeitgeist. Black Panther could have been that anchor. You know, here's the thing about Black Panther. Black Panther's first responsibility is to Wakanda itself. And I think that for that reason alone, I love the character of Black Panther. When he was introduced in Civil War, I thought Chad Boseman was so good. I loved how he was portrayed. Then, of course, he built upon that in the movie Black Panther 1, the original Black Panther, and I thought he was terrific. And he certainly had a leadership quality to him, and I could have seen him leading the Avengers, but the problem is his first and foremost responsibility is to the nation of Wakanda. Remember, they have just come out to the world, and I don't know how they're going to deal with his passing. I know that he passes on in Wakanda forever, but I don't think he could have anchored the Avengers only because of the responsibilities he had to his own people. I could see him filling in for somebody, but I don't know if he ever could have been the actual leader of the Avengers. Certainly, the way he's portrayed on camera, he absolutely has what it took to lead the Avengers. And the glimpses that we saw him interacting with those characters in Wakanda and, say, Infinity War and other times, I mean, what a presence he is, and it looks like, I mean, he'd be terrific. So I just think, though, that in the MCU, he did have responsibilities to Wakanda, so that would sort of negate his ability to lead the Avengers. At least that's the way I see it. And we have a great sponsor today. Speaking of superheroes, we have Ryan Reynolds' company, Mint Mobile, sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Mailbag.
Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Ryan Reynolds, and specifically his delightful company, Mint Mobile. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, this is no joke. I have been using Mint Mobile for months now. And on top of the fact that I'm spending literally about 1/3 every month of what I was spending on my former major carrier, I've discovered no decline in my service. I kept my phone number and I was able to keep my phone. The switch from my old service to Mint Mobile couldn't have been easier and saved me more money. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.
And thank you to Mint Mobile for generously sponsoring this episode of the Mailbag. Sam Fisher says if one page of a script is around 1 minute of the movie and the average screenplay is 120 pages, how do directors end up with 4-hour cuts of a movie? Sam, that's a really good question. Here's the thing. Because one page of a screenplay doesn't always equal 1 minute of screen time. See, on one page of a script, you can have a whole chase sequence that can last 4 or 5 minutes. And when they say one page of a script equals a minute, they're talking about characters and dialogue. Usually, if characters are talking the way you shoot a sequence, if it's just dialogue, but a lot of movies are action, protracted action sequences, and even moments with characters, the way the actors, like if I'm talking to you right now and I'm speaking like, hey, Sam Fisher, we're having a conversation, but what if you're dealing with somebody who's kind of sad and they're like, I can't believe what happened today. I lost my cat. She got stuck in a tree and was eaten by a vulture. You know, someone's going to talk like that, then suddenly a page turns into 6 pages, especially if they're talking to somebody else. By the way, I didn't lose my cat. I don't know where that even came from. It wasn't even a very good story. But so it really depends. So the idea of 1 minute and 1 page is, that's more of a general idea. But, you know, if you have, like, for instance, Baz Luhrmann, if you watch something like Elvis, he rolls an incredible amount of film on every scene that he shoots. So his sequences, because he's got so much footage, he's extending moments out. He's doing various things with editing. He's jumping back and forth through time. So you can a movie that should be 2 hours, even the film that I edited recently, Tango Shalom, our first cut of Tango Shalom was 3 hours long. It just happens. And especially in our movie, we had dance sequences that make things longer. So the 1 minute, 1 page thing is just a guide. And usually that's not the case, because when you're shooting scenes and putting them together, you also find out in dialogue scenes that the way they're written, you can cut half the dialogue out because the audience gets it. It worked well on the page. Like when you're first reading it, you need all that dialogue, but then you go back and you cut it out. Because you don't need it, because the audience is smart and they get what you're trying to do. So it's really, really depends. But it's a great guide as a writer. You're like, okay, I can't write a script. Usually screenplay should be between 90 pages and 120 pages. Even people look, like if you're a reader at a production company and you see the script is 120 pages, you think to yourself, that script's too long. It's just psychological. That's the longest it should be. But, get your script. If you want to sell it and you want people to read it, make it between 100 and 105 pages. That's a great sweet spot. So, good question, though. Garden Variety Vagabond says, I just saw the trailer for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I'm a D&D nerd who loves a good heist movie. I'm hooked. I like the music as well as the action as shown in a short trailer. Did the trailer increase my interest? Mission accomplished. Well, we were talking about that on this show as well. I think we all, both Chris, John, and myself, were all of the opinion that the Dungeons & Dragons trailer captured the spirit of what it's like to actually play Dungeons & Dragons. And I think that was a great way to go. I mean, it's interesting that you have a lot of American accents in a medieval land, but who cares? I don't care. No one else seemed to care either. But when I see castles and battlements, nothing screams American accent like that to me. What can I say? But I thought the cast looked great. I thought Michelle Rodriguez looked jacked. Chris Pine was great. All the rest of the cast looks good. The effects look good. It looks like it's just a lot of fun. And, it's an entertaining fantasy romp. When was the last time you saw something like that was really, really good and just a lot of fun? I thought the movie looked terrific. I can't wait to see it. I never thought I'd get this excited about a Dungeons & Dragons movie in 2022, but yet, here we are. So, Garden Variety Vagabond, you and I also park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay. Jonathan Demila, our friend Jonathan, is back. Hello, John or Rob. I saw the Munster movie trailer. What was that? I'm a fan of old TV shows I got on DVD. Amazing. How is Rob Zombie's Munsters movie production look cheaper than the original TV show? I think the movie would be in black and white. You know what, Jonathan? This is something I've been pondering since we saw it. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I still maintain we're getting trolled and it's like a movie within a movie. But I'm with you. They built all of Mockingbird Lane in Sofia, Bulgaria. I don't know where all the money went. I mean, even Rob Zombie's like, nah, we didn't have $40 million. Who knows what's going on with that? I mean, I have friends that desperately, I didn't know how many people love the Munsters. They've come out of the woodwork. Everyone's like trying to defend the movie. I hope it's great. I do. It just doesn't look great to me. I don't understand, I don't really understand what the point of it is. It's like they're recreating the original series. Why not update it for today? They tried to do that once with Mockingbird Lane, which is a one-off that Brian Fuller produced and Bryan Singer directed that went nowhere, but it did air on TV. So I don't know what they're trying to do with this. I don't know where it's going. I hope it's good, but fingers crossed. But I'm not going to hold my breath because it just didn't look awesome. Jonathan Demila goes on and says, hello, John and Rob. Variety reported the Munsters will be on digital and Blu-ray disc on September 27th, 2022. And this is before the movie's released on Netflix. Is that true? The Munster movie is dead. I would say, Jonathan, your assessment is correct. Physical media before Netflix. Wow, it's not even a Netflix. It's not Netflix bought it, and it's not even a Netflix exclusive. Wow, I mean, that's not good. Jonathan, I think your assessment that the Munsters movie is dead is probably correct. Although hope springs eternal, maybe it'll turn out to be it'll be the best thing you've seen all year. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but it could be. And hope should always spring eternal with you, Jonathan. You never know until you hope. I don't know what that means. Jonathan Demila goes on to say, hello, John and Rob. I can't believe it's been 10 years since I went to my first San Diego Comic-Con. I got to meet my hero, Stan the Man Lee, there. He was the coolest celebrity ever. When I talked to Stan, I felt he was my grandpa. Wow, wasn't a dream. It was real life. I was on a TV show once with Stan Lee, and he insulted me because he didn't like my take on Spider-Man, and he said he thought I was from Krypton. I think you're from Krypton, he said. It was on Sci-Fi Vortex, hosted by Roger Lodge, former host of Blind Date. And we were having a debate about whether or not an actor who ever portrayed Spider-Man, this was pre-Sam Raimi, was the actor important at all, or could anybody be under the mask? And I said, no. I said, you have to have somebody who can play Peter Parker. And Stan Lee himself told me it doesn't matter who plays Peter Parker because Spider-Man's underneath his suit. And I'm like, no, Stan. So we got into it. But I love Stan. I met him a number of times. He was like everyone's favorite grandpa. He was a great man. And he's missed. But you know what? He had a great life. And you got to meet him 10 years ago. How cool is that? I don't know what I'm doing, Seinfeld. That's really cool that you got to meet him. So congratulations. I'm glad you got to interact with him, Jonathan. Did you get his autograph? Did he sign something for you? Maybe you'll tell me in this next chat. Jonathan Demila goes on to say, hello, John and Rob. I met Zachary Levi at MeganCon 2019. Or I think you meant to say MegaCon 2019. He's amazing, real lifesaver, humble man. He thanked me for supporting him all these years. What a class act. He's my hero now. I'll support him at any time if you met him. I have never met Zachary Levi. I don't know if John has. I'd love to hang out with him because he looks like he's a lot of fun. I mean, come on, that dude has got to be a fun dude to hang out with. I mean, and he looks great as Shazam. And you know what he's able to do? He's able to bring that childlike sense of wonder, but still look like a very strapping, powerful man that could take you out, that he could crush you. So I like that. I mean, that childlike innocence coupled with brute force and strength. I think he brings that to the character, and he does a great job. So I'm a fan. And how about the new Shazam trailer? Fury of the Gods looks really good, right? I think it looks good. Looks pretty fantastic. So, Jonathan, that's you and I park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay too. Liam says, hey, crew, this is for you, Rob and Ray, if you're there. Danny, see, we can't talk about this when John's here, so he's not here right now, so we can talk about this. So this is for you, Rob and Ray, if he's there. Danny and Jimmy need to die on For All Mankind, don't they? They're such a blight on a great show. Well, and I don't know, I'm gonna ask Ray to comment on this. You know, they lost their parents, and their parents saved Jamestown from nuclear destruction. They saved the Russians, they saved the Americans. But it's still, if you're growing up, you're young boys, and you lose both of your parents, it's got to be rough, man. And I understand. And when Danny reached out and hooked up with Mrs. Karen Baldwin, there was probably, it might have been a little weird, but probably a little. He was looking for a motherly figure. I mean, having a hot mom. I mean, his mother was hot. Tracy was hot too. But going after Karen, he was probably looking for some kind of comfort. And all of it comes from there. It was a little weird and crazy, and I don't like that. Doesn't absolve him of the responsibility of the way he's been acting. And what happened because of him in episode 7 was terrible. But now let me ask you, Ray. Ray, what do you feel about the Stevens boys?
I can't believe you just tried to defend Danny a little bit. Come on, man. You saw how he kept staying around that restaurant to try to push this thing. He could have easily got any younger girl. He had to mess with the captain's girl. And I will never forgive him. I hate when that happens. I hate it when the wife cheated on Walter White in Breaking Bad. I just hated that whole thing. It just made me feel, ugh. It doesn't matter who it's with. It's just like, you don't move in on someone's thing. Even if they're having troubles, you wait until they're done. You
or unless your spouse wants you to watch.
Because did the camera have to be on me when you said that?
No, I'm kidding.
But look. There's a pure selfishness in Danny that I really don't like.
Yes.
And it could be, you could blame it on the drugs, you could blame it on whatever. But there is a me first thing with him, and it feels like entitlement too, of this is mine when it's not his. And he's going to get people killed because of this.
Well, have you watched episode 7 yet?
Yes, I have.
He did get people
killed.
He did.
Well, I don't know that yet. It looks like he did. It looks like he did. But, dude, like I said on my text to you, he not only is he a home wrecker, now he's a planet wrecker because he looks to have messed up a part of that planet.
Yeah, he messed up.
All right.
No, you're right.
They got to go. Both of them. Both of them are just messed up in the head. I do not like Danny at all.
I will say this, very interesting fates await the Stevens boys. That's all I can say. But yeah, don't like him. Glad you Liam, thanks for writing in about that. Hitchcock is the GOAT. Says, hi, John and Rob. Do you think with the mixed responses of this year's Doctor Strange and Thor, we're seeing the results of Feige being stretched so thin with so many projects he can't be hands-on with each project like he was with phases 1 and 3? He probably felt he could trust veteran Sam Raimi and Taika Waititi without having to be in the room. With Fantastic Four having a cinematic past defined by constant failure, I'm hoping Kevin Feige chose to be in that room every single day. Well, Here's the thing. I don't think it's so much that, but it's they let Kevin Feige lets Sam Raimi look. I think both Thor: Love and Thunder was Taika Waititi being Taika Waititi, and I think that there needs to be more of a balance. I thought the movie was very unbalanced, but they let Taika Waititi make the movie he wanted to make. He's coming off of an Oscar win. I loved Thor Ragnarok. I did not like Thor: Love and Thunder. And I think Feige probably is suffering from being stretched too thin. I mean, he can't not be. How do you have that much going on? And then he's probably dealing more with Marvel brass, or the brass at Disney that's above him and all that. And so, yeah, I think maybe Marvel Phase 4 has suffered a bit. To me, it's meandered. Meandering is the word I would choose for Marvel Phase 4. And I don't know where the focus is supposed to be. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily Kevin Feige's fault. He has his major domos in Louis Esposito and Victoria Alonso. I don't know what's going on all there, but hopefully with 2 new Avengers movies coming in and things being more solidified, he hopefully will bring the focus back to the MCU, because I miss it. I miss that focus. Although I have to say this, Wakanda Forever, I bet, took up a lot of his time, and it looks like that was time well spent, because that teaser trailer is astonishing. So I'm hoping that the movie's as good as it looks, but I'm sure Kevin Feige spent a lot of his time making sure that movie was good to honor not only Chad Boseman, but I think it's going to be foundational in the MCU moving forward. So I hope it's great. Go Kevin Feige. I'm a big, big fan. Mike G says, respectfully, I think that Magneto is an example of a character whose background is inseparable from his story. He's a Jewish character with Jewish creators. His story is a Jewish story. As a goy, that means somebody who's non-Jewish, I hope the MCU honor this and cast a Jewish actor. Well, Mike G, maybe. I don't necessarily think you have to have a Jewish actor playing a Jewish character. Actors act. Remember when Shakespeare was writing back in the day, only men were allowed to perform at the Globe Theater. So men performed all the women's parts in Shakespeare. That's true. That's the way it was done. So I think a great actor should be able. A great actor, you don't necessarily need a Jewish actor to portray a Jew effectively or Magneto effectively. I think you just find the best actor for the role, best actor for the job. But I mean, I see where you're coming from. But I'm always loath to say, yes, this actor must have this lived-in experience in order to portray a character that's like him or her. That doesn't make much sense to me, because the whole point of acting is to be able to play somebody that you're not. And I think great actors are able to jump around in all different ethnicities and time frames and age groups. That's what makes them great actors. So, yeah, just a thought. But I don't know what they're going to do with Magneto. I think his backstory is really important. But now, unless you say he ages slowly, Magneto couldn't have survived the concentration camps, because he basically would be dead now. So I don't know how they're going to do that. It's really interesting. But I think, look, mutants and how they're going to deal with mutants is the big question mark on the MCU horizon. I have no clue how this is going to work out, but it's going to work out somehow, I'll tell you that. So thanks for writing in. Benny S. Rob, John, my weed whacking home slice Ray. After watching the best, worst disaster movies, I can't believe The Impossible wasn't anyone's best pick. You know what? That movie, I mean, Jonathan said Melancholia, and I'm like, that's what I should have picked. You say The Impossible. The Impossible, that's even better than Melancholia. I have to tell you, I own The Impossible on Blu-ray, and I had bought it, and I had for a while before I watched it. I literally was curled up in a ball on my couch when I watched The Impossible for the first time. That movie's incredible. The depiction of the tsunami is amazing. Of course, Tom Holland is in that movie. It's so good, and its portrayal of that disaster is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen on film, because it feels so real. The visual effects they use, it is incredible. And that is a great pick, Benny. Sometimes you just forget. You forget. Like Jonathan coming up with Melancholia. I'm like, oh, yeah, and you coming up with The Impossible. What's that, Ray?
The Happening.
Yeah, no one with the happening. I don't know why. Go figure. No happening. I don't know. Benny goes on to say, The Impossible is insanely good and an insanely good and moving movie with an awesome cast. Also, Ray, you the man, my dude. Never stop, never stopping. Well, I know that Ray will never stop, never stopping because he loves stopping. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but
Thank you.
Ray is certainly here. Ray, you in the chat, you have anything to say to that? Are you going to never stop, never stopping?
Thank you. I don't know what that means, but whatever.
All right. Well, it's good to have you here, Ray. So, yeah. Odyssey sends in a tip and says, hello, everyone. Have you guys heard of the 40-plus year D&D campaign a Robert Wardhoe, I believe his name is, has still ongoing? It's really something, and here's a video on YouTube about him. Well, Odyssey, that's incredible. I don't know this guy, but he's been playing the same D&D game for decades. I can see that happening, though. You just don't end the game. Wow. That's got to be in someone's record book. That's amazing. I'm going to have to watch his videos and check him out. I'll give him a like. I'll subscribe. Maybe I'll send him a super chat. Maybe I'll be his dungeon master for a day. I don't know. That's amazing. What a crazy statistic that is. Jonathan Demila is back. Hello, John and crew. John, did you see the No Holds Barred action figure exclusives at San Diego Comic-Con 22 sold out today? Comes in a VHS case. I'm willing to bet John hadn't seen those, and I didn't see them either, but I'm going to trust your word for it. And congratulations.
Let me get him on there.
Did you want to
Rob,
chime in?
If you guys seen me in the studio on Friday, I was limping because I had this like bad blister on my foot. And I was so concentrated on it, I completely forgot to set my alarm at 9 a.m. because that 2-pack is one of the coolest 2-packs I've ever seen. I loved No Holds Barred as a kid. Did you watch that?
No.
Did any of you guys? The wrestling move? Oh, yeah. You had to be into wrestling. But yeah, that was like, it still is one of my favorite worst movies ever.
Wow.
It was cool. And I also missed the He-Man 2-pack. Those were the two I was gunning for. By the time I remembered on Saturday,
Gone.
both sold out, obviously. We saw them at Comic-Con, though. They look really cool at the Mattel booth. So
Wow.
good pick on that one. Hopefully he got it, right? Did he
it
mention if
sounds
he
like
got
he
it?
did.
Oh.
Maybe. So, Jonathan, we hope you got it. Dread it. Run from it. Dread says, aloha, Campea crew. I watch y'all daily, and I love all the knowledge and insight y'all share with your fans. Captain Burnett, sir, requesting permission to park my VF1S Skull Squadron Valkyrie in your shuttle bay. Dread, you can, but it has to be in fighter mode. It can't be in Jurwalk or Batroid mode because it would hit the ceiling. You fly in Valkyrie mode, it stays in Valkyrie mode. No Jurwalk mode, no battle mode. Just keep it in Valkyrie mode. You can any day of the week. I have to tell you a true story. So I want to say for Macross's 30th anniversary, a Japanese company, I should bring it, I could wear it. A Japanese motorcycle company made the 4 main Rick Hunters, Roy Fockers, Maxes. What was the other one? I forget. I actually got Roy Fockers. Well, it's a motorcycle helmet with the black and the silver, and it says Skull and Crossbones. It says UN Spacey. It's a real motorcycle helmet. It cost me $500. Maybe one day I'll just bring it in and wear it or put it on the desk. I don't even ride a motorcycle. I decided to buy it because I thought it was really cool, and it was a really cool piece of swag. I mean, a real working motorcycle helmet from Macross. What's not to love? And for those of you who don't know what Macross is, it's Robotech. So there you go. Brian Benari says, hey guys, if Marvel did announce at least 2 castings for Fantastic Four at San Diego Comic-Con, would you want Reed Richards and Sue Storm or Reed Richards and Dr. Doom? Well, Brian, as we all know, they didn't announce shit or Shinola at Comic-Con this weekend. We don't know anything about the Fantastic Four other than it's getting made, and we know basically when it's going to come out. And I owe Ray Ora a hot toy because of this. So we didn't get any announcements, but since you ask, I mean, I think Reed Richards and Sue Storm are, for me, the crux of the Fantastic Four. That's what we need to hear. That's what I want to hear, and we didn't. And that's why I'm out $250 to $350 to get Rayora a hot toy of his choice. Win some, lose some. From Mexico with love. All right. Jordan Peele isn't this generation's Carpenter. I think he is this generation's Kubrick. Oh, I beg to differ. Whether you like his films or not, I think it's undeniable that he is a master filmmaker, has absolute control over every detail in his films, and there is nothing like it. He has such a unique and distinct vision. He is someone that makes you think, and I believe it to be a disservice to attempt to understand or criticize his films after one sitting. His films he's studied to no end, like Kubrick before him. Well, Mike, Kubrick's my favorite director, and I beg to differ. I like Jordan Peele's work, but I don't think he's better or even in the same league as Stanley Kubrick. But that's no offense to Jordan Peele because he makes good movies. Just an opinion. Your mileage may vary. Garden Variety Vagabond says, I saw the trailer for The Rings of Power, and it looked promising. Everything was little snippets tied together and not enough to see the acting. I wouldn't care except for out of the cast of thousands, I recognize no one. Does that concern you? Well, Garden Variety Vagabond, I like the fact that the characters I don't remember or don't recognize many. So they to me, first and foremost, are their characters. They don't have any baggage from other movies. And I kind of like that. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know if it's going to be great. The new trailers they've released, that one epic trailer, the Comic-Con trailer, I guess they're calling it. That trailer was epic. Man, did I love it. So we'll see. You know, I want it to be good. I don't think there's anybody that wants this Lord of the Rings show to be bad. I hope it's good. Please be good. Please. Ethan Holgate says, hi, Rob. I've seen The Gray Man, and it was pretty fun. It's no Bourne or Enemy of the State, but an entertaining action spy thriller. Nonetheless, if more cleverness, it could have been great, but Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans were awesome and stole the show. Well, Ethan, I've heard that. I've heard The Gray Man is a lot of fun, but it's just not very deep and not very interesting. I mean, if it looks good, I'll watch it. I like those performers, but I guess it really didn't hit the mark as much as a lot of people would have wanted it to. So that's unfortunate. Ethan Holgate says, also, guys, separate question. Do you think or know if Avatar: The Way of Water will have a Comic-Con panel this year? I'm only asking because Jim Cameron had one for the first movie in 2009, wondering if he'll ever have one this year, maybe a new trailer revealed. Well, as far as I know, Jim Cameron did not. He's probably deep into post on the movie, so he didn't come to Comic-Con this year. So I can honestly say probably not. He's not going to be at Comic-Con this year, and he didn't show a trailer. I think they're still probably, they're pretty far out. They're still almost 6 months out. So I think they're still working on the effects, and I hope they make it great, because boy, do I want it. Garden Variety Vagabond comes back and says, when the veils of COVID were first lifted, we heard how there were 1 million movies backlogged and coming out in 2022. So many they couldn't fit in 1 year. Did they all push again? Where are they? I see nothing between Bullet Train and Black Adam. Well, a lot of them ended up streaming. A lot of them got moved around, but you're not wrong. Things change, and the pandemic changed everything. And we've had big performers like Top Gun Maverick. I mean, would you want to release your movie in that time? I think people are just jiggering their schedules around and trying to figure out how to work it all into the same thing, which is hard to do. But I don't blame anybody for it. I think we're going to get more movies starting in September. I mean, it just looks like there's slim pickings now. But I think that ultimately we're going to start getting more movies toward the end of the month, end of August, hopefully. And we'll see more, because we need more movies. Anonymous says, hey, guys, they played The Gray Man in theaters here in Australia. There were zero promotions for a theatrical release. After watching it on the big screen, I think Netflix Netflix missed out on something big. That's what she said. I think it should have gotten a bigger cinema release. I agree with you. As we always talk about on this show, I firmly believe that movies, especially big action thrillers that'll play well foreign, they deserve a theatrical berth. I mean, even if they make $100 million or $200 million and that's it, that's $100 million or $200 million the company didn't have to defray the cost of making these films. I don't understand why Netflix doesn't adopt that model for their bigger programs. If you've made a 2-hour movie, why not put it in theaters with a great ad budget behind it so people know it's playing, and then go from there? So, yeah. Nick says, hi there. I wanted to say that I really enjoy and appreciate this show. Looking ahead to Black Panther 2, could it be an interesting place to tease or introduce Reed Richards or the Fantastic Four? Namor has often been associated with them in the comics. Nick, I think it's a great idea. I would love to see the Fantastic Four introduced briefly in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I think it'd be great. Obviously, Marvel's first family. Who wouldn't want to see them? Great stuff. I totally agree with you. Yes. Bring it on. Don't know if it's going to happen, but it'd be cool if it did. Most time? Is that most time? Is that what that says? I feel like the D&D movie is going to be like The Princess Bride, where the fictional story we experience is being narrated by someone in the real world. It already looks like a lot of fun. This would just enhance that. I don't think they're going to go with that, but I totally don't disagree with you. It looks like it's a lot of fun. I mean, who doesn't want to? That movie looks really good. I don't know if it's a story within a story, but sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe you're right, because he is, after all, Chris Pine is a bard, so maybe he is telling this story, and this whole thing is one big, weird meta flashback. I like that idea. I think we should, if they're not doing it, maybe we should all write a script together and make it just like that. I like that idea. A silly goose, 1 of 4. Rob, I am utterly elated that you assigned our shuttlecrafts to the same shuttle bay. You know what? If you think just like I do and believe everything I believe and you don't piss me off, you can land your shuttle in my shuttle bay. And clearly, you're one of those people. So welcome. And you can stay as long as you want. But perhaps this is... Uh-oh. Okay, let me start over. See, you know what? I just read a little further, silly goose. I see what you're doing. Let's start again. I'm going to read all 4 parts of this question before I respond. Rob, I'm utterly elated that you assigned our shuttlecrafts to the same shuttle bay, but perhaps this is where our shuttles part ways. I would rather watch the Hobbit trilogy than watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Don't get me wrong. I love Lord of the Rings, but there is something about the Hobbit that soothes my soul. I love Bilbo and Thorin and Balin and Beaufort and Bard and Alfred and Smaug. I love the relationship that develops between Bilbo and the dwarves, and I love all the scenes between Smaug and Billy, in fact. Really? That's it. I'm quitting. I'm out. What, you want me to go back? All right, I guess he did send us a tip. He does deserve to have this not good take answered. No, silly goose, all in good fun. The Desolation of Smaug is amongst my top 10 favorite movies. Just in March alone this year, I've watched it 5 times. Then Battle of the Five Armies contains one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. The final scene where Bilbo is looking at the ring and it cuts to his hand holding the ring and then back to him where he is old and still fixated on the ring. This scene perfectly encapsulates Bilbo's obsession with the ring. I just wanted to share my Hobbit love with the verisimilitude dude. All right, silly goose. Just so you know, I got up. I think here's the thing. Whether you like the Lord of the Rings trilogy or the Hobbit trilogy doesn't really matter. What matters is that you love what you love. And I have to say this. While I think the Hobbit trilogy, first of all, the Hobbit is not a story about the end of the world, whereas the Lord of the Rings really is. And the Hobbit, my problem with the Hobbit, I read the Hobbit book when I was a kid. The Hobbit it's a children's book. It's not a very long book, and they blew it up into 3 movies. So I feel that the Hobbit movies are overblown. However, I will say this: there's as much beauty and craft poured into those Hobbit movies as there was in the Lord of the Rings. And so there's a lot to love there. And I can totally understand some people's sensibilities. You know, to me, Lord of the Rings has a more gritty, apocalyptic sensibility to it, whereas the Hobbit movies have a lot more of the fantastical, a lot more overt comedy. They're just different kinds of movies. And I don't think one take is necessarily better than the other. And I think if the Hobbit movies work for you, and what's important about that, Silly Goose, is you know why those movies are your favorite. You can tell me exactly what you love about them. There's so many people that are like, I like this, it's really good. And you go, well, why? What about it did you like? I don't know, it's just good. Whereas you can explain exactly why you love the Hobbit films. And I think that's important. I think it's always great to understand why you dig something and be able to articulate that in a manner that really can convey to other people why you like the film. So good on you, Silly Goose. You're not a silly goose. You're just silly. But thank you for writing in. I appreciate that. I'm glad you love the Hobbit films. By the way, if you have the Blu-rays, I worked on the behind the scenes of the Hobbit stuff. On Lord of the Rings. I did not work on the Hobbit. The Hobbit on physical media has outstanding special features on the making of those films. They're beautifully shot. You really get to meet everyone. They're terrific. They don't get the love that Lord of the Rings gets, but they're really, 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 really good. Korea Got Soul. Hey, Rob, you're the man, by the way. I guess I am. Thanks. So Simon Baker is in talks with Marvel to be in the Fantastic Four. God, I hope he's Dr. Doom. But personally, my pick to play Dr. Doom would be Viggo Mortensen. Wow, you know what? That's really good casting. I would love to see Viggo Mortensen as Dr. Doom. I mean, preferably, look, I would love more of a European actor. Like I would have said Mads Mikkelsen would have made a great Dr. Doom, but that's so cliche now, you know? But I do love Mads Mikkelsen. I think that we need a European actor that carries with him gravitas, a great European accent, preferably like an Eastern Bloc accent. I love the idea of Viggo Mortensen playing Dr. Doom. I think that's actually really, really good. I just think it needs to be, and I don't know who that is. You know, like I think a younger Jeremy Irons, he's old now, but a younger Jeremy Irons, like around Die Hard with a Vengeance time, could have made a great, that was what, 95? That's, God, my God, 26 years old. That could have been great. So yeah, I want somebody European. That's all I want. But I want to thank you for the kind words. That's very nice of you to say. Korea Got Soul says, hey, Rob. Oi, Ray. So I was thinking, did you say hello to yourself? Oh, okay. Oi, Ray. So I was thinking, what if Kang isn't the big bad of the MCU? Instead, what if he is the next Loki? He could be helpful or mischievous and willing to kill you by any means necessary. You never know which one you're going to get. Thoughts? Well, Korea Got Soul, I don't think that's a bad idea. But here's the thing. If they are, we know that they're doing the Kang Dynasty. In the Kang Dynasty storyline, Kang was a bad dude. And he wanted to take over the world for various reasons. He was a bad dude. And that storyline was quite good. But I can see them. I mean, I don't think Kang is not like Loki. Kang is a tyrant, banished, but he's a tyrant, banished. What was I trying to say? He's interested in controlling the world. That's what he's interested in doing. So I think that I think Kang is going to be the big bad, at least for we're gonna meet him, we're gonna get to know him. He's going to get worse and worse and worse. Then he's going to have the Kang Dynasty storyline, which is going to lead right into Secret Wars, which are both going to be, the scope of those are going to be ginormous. So I think Kang is going to be the big bad. He's not just going to be Loki. He's different than Loki. But now that they know each other, we'll see where that goes. Korea Got Soul says, hey, Rob, you're awesome. Did you know that NOPE is an acronym for Not of Planet Earth? NOPE. I always loved finding acronyms and trying to solve them. Have you ever looked at a title of a movie and said to yourself, that does not describe the movie at all? Yeah, but I'm drawing a blank as to what those might be. I mean, I'm trying to think of what's a good title that doesn't describe the movie at all. Actually, now I'm drawing a blank. Well, Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise movie that Doug Liman directed. What the fuck does that mean? Edge of Tomorrow. The Edge of Tomorrow. What does it have to do with the movie? You know, then again, it's based on a Japanese manga called All You Need Is Kill. I just like the grammatical incorrectness of that. I think All You Need Is Kill sounds badass. It's better than Edge of Tomorrow. They met on the edge of tomorrow. I think it's a dumb title. I don't know why they called that. And then, of course, the tagline for Edge of Tomorrow was Live, Die, Repeat. And people usually just call the movie Live, Die, Repeat. They don't even know it's called The Edge of Tomorrow. I don't know. I can't go there, but that's the first thing that popped into my mind. Edge of Tomorrow, a title that doesn't have anything to do with the movie at hand. And I don't know why that happened. Yeesh. Owen Lanning says, after watching The Gray Man, I can safely say Ryan Gosling is a true movie star. His credits are so diverse, from The Notebook, Blue Valentine, I love Blue Valentine, Drive, The Place Beyond the Pines, and La La Land. It's insane. Drive is in my top 3 of all time. Would it surprise you to know that last week I got Second Sight's huge box set of the 4K of Drive with all these booklets and swag inside? I did. I really did. Great stuff. I love Drive. I love the chromatics. They use the chromatics to do the soundtrack. Really great movie. I like that you like it. Great stuff. Senpaigar, taking a shot that Rob will read this. Well, hang on a second. I think I will. Taking a shot that Rob will read this. Rob, I recommend you check out an episode of a regular show called The Last Laserdisc Player. It is the first of several episodes that deals with the format wars. I think you get such a kick out of it. Well, Senpaigar, that sounds great to me. You know, one of my dreams in life is I wanted to make a documentary. I've got an outline of the history of the home entertainment industry from beginning in the late 60s and up till now. And Laserdiscs were a big part of that. And you just reminded me, I have yet to make this, so now I have to go and not be a failure in my life. But I'm going to go check this out. I want to thank you for the recommendation. I've not watched this before, and I want to see what they have to say about Laserdiscs. Sam Fisher's back. Sam Fisher says, I have a feeling all of the Marvel stuff at D23 is going to be casting announcements and learning the full Phase 6 slate. I think we find out the cast of Fantastic Four, the lineup of Thunderbolts, officially announcing Namor, and then we learn all Phase 6 movie titles. Sam, from your mouth to God's ears, I think tentatively we could find out that the Avengers lineup for Avengers 5 and 6, and maybe even the identity of the new Black Panther, maybe in the next trailer. I think Phase 6 will include Shang-Chi, Wonder Man, and Eternals. Well, Sam, I'd love to see that. I don't know, but all I know is that you and I share the same love of where the MCU is going. So kudos to you there. I don't really know. I don't know what to say, but I'm very curious to see what they're going, what Kevin Feige and his glorious minions are going to bring to D23. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what that's going to be yet. But thanks for writing in. Sam Fisher says, this is the third part to my recent tips. I think we could maybe see a Ghost Rider and Midnight Suns project announced. I still just can't believe that Phase 5 is only 18 months long. That feels so short compared to Phases 1 through 4. Could be, but, they got so many things packed in. Look, I think with Agatha Harkness, her show, I think that they're leaning, with Blade coming, they're going to start leaning into the supernatural, and we're going to see a lot more of that supernatural stuff happening, which I'm so there for, because you know me, if I could, I would be a Satanist. I would worship the devil. That would be my religion of choice. I would use it to get whatever I wanted. My selfish nature would cause all my enemies to be burnt at the stakes. I'd become a famous director, and I just destroy everyone who got in my way. So, hey, what can I say? I'm just kidding. I wouldn't really do those things. I wouldn't want to become a Satanist. There's no money in it. So, anyway, that's what I have to say about that. I don't even know what your question was. Did I answer it? Sam Fisher comes back and says, I think Phase 6 could also include both an X-Men movie and maybe even a Disney Plus X-Man anthology. I like this idea. Anthology series where each episode maybe gives backstory to each one of the X-Men members that are in the movie. They kind of did that with Phase 1 for the OG Avengers. Well, Sam, I like this idea. In the comics, they had, there used to be like a Tales of the Teen Titans comic, where they would deal with the backstory of one character. Like you'd delve into, say, Nightwing, and you'd find out a story you didn't know, or they'd go to Jericho or Wonder Girl, and the whole comic would be devoted to a story that just that character. And I like the idea. There was also a classic X-Men comic that was a reprint comic that had backups sometimes when you would learn about people. I love that. I thought those things were great. Why not do more of that? That would be kind of cool. I love doing an X-Men anthology series. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know if they do it, because the problem when you make an anthology series for TV is you don't have any standing sets, so it's expensive to do. But I like the idea. I think it'd be great. Sam Fisher goes on to say, I'm going to posit or guess that for Black Panther 2, the opening scene is a funeral for T'Challa intercut with Atlantis, whether accidentally or on purpose, is going to flood Wakanda, and T'Challa is going to have died in that flood, saving people. Ooh, Sam, I like that idea. I mean, I can't speak to that. I don't know. But judging from the trailer that we saw, I would say that you've got some of your suspicions that you're laying out here are good ones. Because in the comics, Wakanda does get flooded by Namor, and I could see that happening. I like the way you think. Shane Roxas, 1 of 3. Fun fact about me: I've seen Batman v Superman over 50 times. I love that universe and those iterations of some of my favorite comic book characters. I'm currently rewatching Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it just makes me sad at this point. I just wish these films resonated more with audiences and critics, and that we could have seen the full story that Snyder intended. I know this topic exhausts you guys. You're right. I'm just going to sleep here. Oh, wait, what? I know this topic exhausts you guys, but as a diehard fan, it really breaks my heart that we'll never see it completed. At least I'll always have these 3 films, and no, the 2017 version doesn't count for me. Well, Shane, you and I certainly park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay. I am a huge fan of the operatic nature of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. I prefer the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, and I think the way he portrays the superheroes in these movies is the way I envisioned superheroes when I was a kid. The Alex Ross paintings came later, but if Alex Ross had been painting when I was a little kid, I would have had his posters all up over my wall. I really like the mythic quality that Zack Snyder brings to these characters. And look, I'm with you. I would love to have seen all the rest. I'd love to see the rest of the story where the heroes take the battle to Darkseid himself. And I'm sorry we didn't get it. I mean, that was a major bummer. But I really do believe that what Zack Snyder did with these characters is unique. He made them all larger than life. And I love that. And the stakes are high in these movies. The heroes step up even though there's almost a certainty that they're not going to come back alive or whatever. I think you're absolutely right. These films really, they speak to me. They speak to what I love about superheroes, the nature of it all. So I'm with you on this one. I'm a Zack Snyder fanboy. I stand for Zack. I like his vision of the DC universe. Again, not for everybody, and I can understand why they aren't going back in that direction. I mean, maybe they'll do it someday, but I think Zack Snyder is kind of done with DC. He's got his sweet Amazon deal. Why not be at a place where they respect you as a filmmaker? So kudos to Zack. Sam Fisher says, did Armor Wars get scrapped? It wasn't mentioned at all at the panel. Maybe it's the final project after Fantastic Four in Phase 6, but then why wasn't it on the timeline they showed? I think I have a theory about this. How can I put this? There is a character in the MCU that we all know and love who isn't what they appear to be. And I think if they showed us anything from Armor Wars, it would be a spoiler. Because if there's a character it's just, trust me on this one. I think they're holding back Armor Wars because they can't acknowledge Armor Wars exists in any way, shape, or form that's different than just letting you know the title. In terms of where the MCU is at. We need the universe, from what I understand and know, we need the MCU to push forward a little bit before we can do any any Secret Invasion or any of those storylines or Armor Wars or all that. We need to get past all of that. You have to see Secret Invasion before you see Armor Wars, I think. Trust me, trust your Uncle Bob here. Trust your Uncle Bob. All will be revealed. Casey McNatt, 1 of 5. Oh, my God. Hello, John and crew. How's your weekend going? Hoping it's going well. Wow, I never expected Marvel to announce so much stuff for Comic-Con. They practically much owned DC again, which only talked about Shazam 2 and Black Adam. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to both these films, but when Marvel comes out and pretty much gives you its entire Phase 5 and part of Phase 6 for me, it pretty much wins Comic-Con. As for what they announced, it looks like MODOK is going to be in Ant-Man 3. Is that true? I didn't hear that. MODOK is in Ant-Man 3? Oh, man, that's awesome. That's going to be hilarious.
Played by Bill Murray.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, okay. All right. MODOK in the MCU. Okay. I'll take it. Let me get back to reading. Casey goes on to say, it's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off because that is one character I never thought we'd see in the MCU. Also announcing not one but 2 Avengers films in the same year is crazy. I mean, yeah, we got Infinity War and Endgame, but those were a year apart. Also, if there's going to be an end to this multiverse stage, then what better way to end it than with Secret Wars? I agree. The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, that 1-2 punch is great. A few last things. The fact is that we are getting a Daredevil series on Disney Plus was not surprising, but the fact that it was 18 episodes is crazy. And then we got hit with that Black Panther 2 trailer. And to be honest, I wasn't looking forward to this movie, but after that trailer, I think this movie's going to be emotional. I can't wait to see it. I am right there with you. It looks amazing. I can't wait. Black Panther 2 or just Black Panther Wakanda Forever. How good does that look? I think it looks fantastic. And I can't wait to see all these things. It's great. I always say we live in interesting, great times. We don't have to love everything, but man, we're getting some cool shit, right? I'm telling you. So thanks for writing in. Sam Fisher says Daredevil Born Again is 18 episodes, but is it one 18-episode season or 2 9-episode seasons or 3 6-episode seasons? Because with Disney Plus, it can literally be any of the 3. Sam, I'm with you. But you know what? Hope springs eternal. I hope that it's one long 18-episode season. Probably won't be, but I hope it is. Because that's what I want it to be. That'd be awesome. Did he say it was one season? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is just, maybe they said one season, 18 episodes. If that's the case, bring it on. Yeah, but you know what? Make sure the writing doesn't suffer. Because that would suck. From Big Will to Slim Will. Hey, John and crew. So my favorite trailer from San Diego Comic-Con this year was Black Panther Wakanda Forever. It was so emotional. Mine too, by the way. The lines from Angela Bassett, the look on her face brought me to tears. I know I will be crying during this movie. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. I am too. I'm going to tear up too. I mean, how can you not? The guy, Chad Boseman was a warrior. He knew he had terminal cancer, and yet he still did the work. He still got up and fought another day, even though he was probably in pain or I can't even imagine. But the man was a warrior. He really was. And so, you know, I have nothing more to say about it. And I think Wakanda Forever is going to honor not just his memory, but all of us who are fans of the MCU and what he did in Black Panther. It really looks like they've gone all out. And they don't just have the sadness of losing Chad Boseman, but they also have the knowledge that they're carrying forth his legacy. So they might be sad about it, but they seem to have done it in grand fashion. And I can't wait. I am so excited for Black Panther 2. Garden Variety Vagabond says, I just watched the trailer for Neil Gaiman's Sandman. This seemed to have been flying under the radar a bit. What do you all hear about it, and what are your expectations before and after the new trailer? Intriguing cast. Well, Garden Variety Vagabond, the Sandman is my favorite comic series of all time. And, you know, seeing characters like the Corinthian and Death on a real screen, I can't wait for this show. The Sandman, to me, why I love it so much is it's a comic book series. It's actually about storytelling itself. at the most fundamental levels. I love the Sandman. It looks so great to me. I think it's Jim Sturgis plays Dream. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. I can't wait to see it. And I think you're right. This last trailer kicked ass, but people are sleeping on this show. I mean, not comic book fans, but the people who know, they know. But man, I can't wait to see this show. And it starts like on August 5th. How amazing is that? Sounds pretty amazing to me. All right. I can't wait. Garden Variety Vagabond says, have you all seen the trailer for Brahmastra Part 1 Shiva? It may be in Hindi, but it looks decent. $45 million budget, and and Alia Bhatt is hot. Based on the trailer, it may be better than some DC MCU offerings. Not yet rated on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a September release. I keep hearing about this. Brahmastra Part 1 Shiva. I've watched the trailer, and it's amazing. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but I'll watch it. I mean, I'm a big fan of Bollywood movies, so why not? I would totally watch that. Garden Variety Vagabond goes on to say, I just saw the trailer for Interview with a Vampire in AMC, and 1, I have not heard this is coming at all. 2, AMC is not tops in marketing. And 3, this feels like a fancy trailer for both a CW show, Am I the only one? That's that. And Bring on the Filthy. Well, Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles, the first 3 especially, Interview with a Vampire, Vampire Lestat, and Queen of the Damned. They've made Interview with a Vampire and Queen of the Damned into films. They have not done the Vampire Lestat, and I think it'd be great. A great book. It's been under the radar. I don't know much about the Interview with a Vampire series. I hope it's good because I love those books, and we'll see where it winds up. So yeah, I hope it's good. Callum says, hey, Rob, I'm now 1 movie away from finishing the Star Trek movies, and I'm disappointed as the Next Generation era didn't live up to expectations. I mean, First Contact was great, but the rest of them were not. Part 1, not. And the new movies, let's just say they're not great, and especially Into Darkness. I got 2 questions. Why do you think the Next Generation era of movies didn't go so well? And do you think the original cast will come back again in these movies? Thanks. Well, first of all, Callum, I can just say that I'll flat out say it. I've seen all of Picard season 3. You could throw out the first seasons of Picard. Picard season 3 is like watching the best TNG movie they've ever made that just takes 10 hours to tell. I think one of the problems with the Star Trek movies, and I hate to say this, is that the actors themselves, both Brent Spiner and Patrick Stewart, as much as I love them, they exerted too much power. And the problem is, when you're writing and directing a movie, you have to have a holistic approach. You're not just thinking about one actor. And, Brent Spiner and Patrick Stewart wanted to get certain things out of these movies. And in the sense, they kind of lost something in translation. I feel like First Contact is fine, but I don't love it. And I think the entirety of all the TNG movies could be better in general. And they're not. I wish they were, but they're not. Jimmy Bones says, hey guys, just curious what your favorite local food from your respective hometown is. In your case, camp home country. Probably sushi. There's a little hole-in-the-wall Japanese restaurant that I found next to our grocery store, and they have incredible sushi there. And I'm now in the Inland Empire. I'm like, how can I get good sushi here? But this place, totally Japanese, totally authentic. It's amazing. So that's probably my favorite local food I can get. I don't know if that answers your question, but now I'm going to go get sushi on the way home. Bring Back Henry C. says, thoughts on positive reactions to Prey. Well, Bring Back, I got to tell you, I talked to a friend of mine, my friend Charlie, who saw Predator, and he was as surprised as everyone else. He's like, I can't believe how good this movie is. I don't know where it came from. I can't believe how good it is. He said not only does he think it's a great movie, he thinks it's his favorite Predator movie. I'm like, come on. He goes, nope, you'll see. And I trust him. I can't wait to see it. Apparently, it doesn't have very much dialogue either. So more of a visual experience. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. John left. He's going to see it right now. You know what John does? He leaves all the time. Does he ever give us tickets to anything? No. He goes to see Prey. And when he doesn't go, it's frustrating. Well, I had tickets last night. I just didn't go. I would have been like, I would have gone. Anyway, he went to see Prey. You're gonna look tonight for an out of the theater reaction. John Campea will tell us what he thinks of Prey. So that's cool. Looking forward to that. Garden Variety Vagabond says, "Do you feel that that The Rock planned to be booed as a heel? Black Adam kind of is one." I agree. I think you're right. I think he did that on purpose. He knows. I mean, think about it. Dwayne The Rock Johnson has been in the wrestling arena and been a showman for the better part of like 40 years or something. Of course he knew what he was doing. He knew how to have fun. I don't think he expected so many boos, but I think he knew exactly what he was doing, and he jumped right into that. I can't wait. Let's hope it's good. I hope it's good. Maybe it'll be good. Anonymous sends in a tip and says, "Many people speculated about Hugh Jackman appearing to the point where I brought this hot toy right here. Look at these. Look at these. Look at that right there. I brought this toy, both of these, in anticipation these boys would show up. Neither one of them did. Crushing disappointment. Thanks a lot, guys. I mean, it's the last time I bring my hot toys out for you." Many people speculated about Hugh Jackman appearing at Comic-Con this weekend. He was a no-show, and I had a feeling, because you're a Boston fan, it's very important to remember that he is performing 8 shows a week in The Music Man on Broadway. Something to think about before D23. Ooh, I love that. I didn't know that. Hugh Jackman didn't show up. You can't blame him. I think that he's on The Music Man or in The Music Man on Broadway is exactly right. I think you can't blame somebody for not showing up at an event they're not even supposed to be at. So I totally get it. And his first obligation is you can't let a show go dark. So good on Hugh Jackman. I wish him all the success in the world. I'd like to see him come back and be in a movie with Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. But hey, probably won't happen. But if it did, it would be very cool. Funky Buddha says, "So hyped for John Wick 4. That teaser, the cast, Skarsgård, Donnie Yen, Scott Adkins. Amen. Sonata and Nunchucks. This is becoming my favorite franchise." Well, Funky Buddha, it's got to be everybody's favorite franchise. You know, I've often talked about how the Raid is called the Rad, and the Raid 2 Barandal should just be called the Rad 2 even radder. The John Wick movies are that same way. They just keep getting cooler and cooler. This movie had some amazing sequences in it. He's killing just a bunch of people, which I love, but it looks great. I don't know who would say it doesn't look great. It looks great. I can't wait to get into it. I can't wait to see it. I love this franchise. And I should point out that my friend Mark Altman and Ed Gross have a book that came out. It comes out actually this week. They Shouldn't Have Shot His Dog, the oral history of the John Wick films. Highly recommended. I've been reading it myself. So check that out if you're a fan of the franchise, because it's good. James LH says, "Hi, John and Rob. Fascinating MCU announcements, but I just wanted to mention how John Wick 4 looks so fun. Clancy Brown, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, to name a few. The stunts, blocking bullets like a lightsaber, and the hammer at the end." Yes. I love that. So you and I, we definitely we park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay. I mean, blocking bullets like a lightsaber and the hammer at the end. I mean, come on. It looks so much fun. Fun is right. When was the last time you went to the movies and had lots of bloodshed and carnage and just had a good time watching it happen? That's what this movie looks like it's going to give everybody, and I can't wait. Garrett sends in a tip and says, "Hey guys, I was wondering if the MCU TV shows started as a response to COVID since the theaters were closed, or do you think it's just a natural progression of the storytelling to have a blend of movies and shows? Thanks, and bring on the filthy." Garrett, that's a really good question. I personally believe that it's partly a response to COVID, but also they were always going to get on TV, always going to get that streaming cash. So that's nothing new. But I think they were always supposed to get there, and they are. They are there. And we're better for them. Better for them, better for us. Well, my God, you guys, that's the end of this mailbag. And I want to thank you all for listening to me rattle on. I want to thank producer Jonathan Voico, and I want to thank Ray Ora. Ray, where can people find you online?
Ray Ora with a 0.
And Jonathan, where can people find you online?
Well, let's see. My mic's not. They can find me on Twitter, Sonic if you want it.
Sonic, if you want it on Twitter, that's where Jonathan is. Send him inappropriate mail and pictures because I don't get to read any of that, and Jonathan can slip it to me later. So if you wanted to leave me some inappropriate information, you could do so through Jonathan Voico. Thank you very much. Make sure it's good. I want to thank Ray Ora for being himself. My name, Robert Meyer Burnett. You can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM. Find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett. And if you want to participate, you can send us a link right down there. Or actually, there's the link. Send us, I don't know, tips, comments, whatever, right down there. Our operators are standing by 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We have operatives all around the planet. The John Campea Show penetrates even into the deepest reaches of the Amazon basin. Unbelievable how much our fans will never stop loving us, even at the farthest points of the world. So thank you for that. We very much appreciate you sending in comments, giving us great things to talk about, and supporting the channel while you do it. I don't know. I've been talking for like hours today, so I have nothing more to say. Other than I want to thank all of you, and I will see you in the next mailbag.